What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journos, Comics, and Pop Culture. In today's video, we are counting down the top 10 key comics released in the greatest year ever, 1982. We got some throwbacks, guys, today. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, please take some time to do so. Check out all the links in the description below as well. It's been a long while since I've done a video like this, guys, and I'm so happy to be going over 10 awesome books with you all today. We're going to break down the market. We're going to give you guys a little bit of history on each book, and we're going to look at what the books are selling for on the market today. Before we get into the 10 books, I want to take just about 1 minute to thank today's sponsor, PopCultureZone.com. PopCultureZone.com is your go-to online comic shop focusing on hot new comics and incentive variants, CGC graded keys, and tons of other pop culture inventory including toys, statues, and other collectibles, all available at competitive prices. Don't miss out on taking advantage of their spend $25 for bargain deals option. How does this work? Simply add $25 of product to your cart and receive special deals and discounted prices on countless other inventory. Pop Culture Zone ships all over the US, and for anyone buying raw comics, they offer the flat rate shipping charge of only $5. Taxes are also excluded from all purchases, excluding New Jersey residents. Make sure to check out their website link below and also the link to their eBay store, where they have held a 100% positive feedback score from thousands of reviews, so be sure to follow them there as well. And also, if you are in need of top tier pressing at extremely affordable prices, make sure you check out their link for pressing services. All right, everyone, let's get into the 10 books on this list today. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done a video like this, going on hiatus, dealing with a lot of life stuff on my channel, but been trying to build the channel back up for the last couple of months. I want you guys to let me know in the comments below what other types of top 10 or hot comic investment videos or key comic investment videos that you guys want to see me start doing once again moving forward. But let's just go in to the first book on today's list. We have Daredevil number 181, The Death of Elektra. I still believe that this book, and I don't say this often, undervalued. I don't throw that word around lightly, guys. This was written, of course, by Frank Miller and art by Frank Miller as well. Cover price was $1. Current average value. Now, this is a raw value, folks, so it doesn't pertain to a specific grade. It's just when you calculate all the raw sales and divide them by the number of sales, that's what you're going to get. So you could find probably, a nice solid copy of this book for around $30 on the market right now. Now, a current 9.8 fair market value is sitting at $160. Now, over the last couple of years, we've seen, spec books that have jumped up and then cooled off, still going for more than this. And I think Elektra is an amazing character. She's always been a favorite of mine, and I see a lot of potential growth for this book in the future. Can't wait to see her in the MCU proper as well. All right, number 9 on the list today, we got X-Men and New Teen Titans. This is Marvel and DC presents Uncanny X-Men and the New Teen Titans. This classic team up written by Chris Claremont, art by Walt Simonson. Cover price was $2. Current average value sitting at $18. So you can get a decent copy of this book for only $18 right now. I don't own one. I don't think. Current 9.8 fair market value, $169. Will we ever see anything like this in live action, guys? Will we ever see some DC team up with some Marvel, some X-Men, Teen Titans, or Justice League and Avengers? I don't know. I would love to see it one day, but for me right now, I need to see James Gunn and Warner Brothers and DC get their act together, if you know what I mean. All right, guys, number 8, we got STARSLAYER number 2. This is the first appearance of the Rocketeer. I absolutely love the movie The Rocketeer. I've seen it a couple times. I will never forget the first time I saw it in the movies when I was a kid. Absolutely love the character. This was written by Mike Grell and Dave Stevens. Artist was Mike Grell as well. Got a cover price of $1. Current average value sitting at $22. Current 9.8 fair market value, $205. This book has been, gaining ground over the years. I definitely think this is a solid long-term investment. There was some spec on it recently because of a possible Rocketeer series. It's cooled off a little since then, but it's still holding a solid floor. So, if you find this book out there, I mean, around $20, I think that's a very low risk in investment. That's something that you can hold and see what happens over the next 5-10 years. All right, 7 on the list today. We got Batman 353. This is a very interesting book. It's a classic Joker cover. We know Bronze Age books with Joker covers, always classic. But get this, Joker uses an alias, Harlan Quinn. Right? This was 10 years prior to Harley Quinn's introduction. So it had nothing to do with the actual character Harley Quinn, but this was basically the name thrown out there. Now, I can't tell you the story. I don't know if this was, obviously, as you can see, the writer was Jerry Conway on this. We got art by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. I don't know if Jerry Conway created the name. I'm assuming he's writing the book. And I don't know off top. You guys can leave it in the comments below. But who actually was responsible for creating Harley Quinn? Because I'm going to assume it was somebody working on the animated series team that actually created the character, and maybe they got the obviously influenced by the name from this comic book right here. So this comic book has gained some attention and some traction over the last couple of years. Cover price of 60 cents. Current average value sitting at about $25 for those raw books. A current 9.8 fair market value sitting at about $200. And I want to say, like I always do, even for the current 9.8 fair market values, folks, they're rolling averages. They're averages. They're not an exact science. So if you're looking at the market, I'm not here to tell you guys to buy any of these books, as always. But if you're in the market for any of these books on the list, do your due diligence, take your time, have patience, and don't just look at a fair market value as saying, this is what I need to pay. It's a rolling average that could change day to day. All right, moving on. Number 6 on today's list is Masters of the Universe. Number 1, some awesome He-Man goods. This is the first solo appearance of He-Man in a comic book title, or first solo He-Man title, excuse me. Writer Paul Kupperberg with art by George Tuska. Cover price of 60 cents. Current average value, raw, sitting at about $36 with a current 9.8 fair market value of $393. It just goes to show He-Man is the beloved nostalgic character. I think as the 80s kids continue to, or 70s and 80s kids continue to grow and age into middle age, adulthood, I think a lot of nostalgia is going to sit with this book, and I definitely think in the next 10 years this book is going to have great long-term success, in my humble opinion. It doesn't have anything to do with live action movie spec or even new cartoons. This is really all of the nostalgia of what this character was for that era in that generation, for sure. All right, everyone, we are halfway through the books today, and before we move on to the next 5, I do want to remind you all that if you are in need of comic book supplies, check out bcwsupplies.com. You can use the discount code JOURNOS to receive 10% off of your order. That link is in the description below. Remember, this code never expires. You can use it as many times as you want. Small orders, large orders, comic book supplies, card supplies, anything from their website. Save 10% using BCW supplies. Now remember, I only stand by products and companies that I believe in myself, and why I don't use BCW for everything. I use them for a lot of my supplies, and I will always stand by them. But let's now move on to book number 5 on today's list. This is Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 16, first appearance of Monica Rambeau. Look, folks, I'm loving Monica Rambeau in the MCU so far. We got the Marvels movies coming out in a few months here, and I don't care what anybody says. There's going to be a lot of hate. I am hyped on these trailers. The second trailer just came out, and I'm even more hyped. It looks like it's going to be just a well-rounded, fun, action, adventure, sci-fi, space, just everything. I think this movie is really going to bring everything together. Now, I understand how maybe the Miss Marvel show was more of like it seemed like a Disney XD show, but I love Monica Rambeau in WandaVision, but I loved the Kamala Khan character in her story arc, and I think bringing all these different tones together in this movie is going to be great. Could this have an impact on this book? Of course, but I think Monica Rambeau is a character that still has that inherent nostalgic value of who she is in the comic books. But I definitely think if we continue to see this character in the MCU, it can continue to keep eyes on this book. But now let me make this statement, folks. You guys have known over the last year and a half plus, I have been very, very careful about talking about the idea of FOMO and how movie hype has really gotten people whacked out in the head. And, you know, all this jump into this these emotions and reactionary buying, and it drives values up that aren't organic, and supply and demand isn't allowed to catch up. And we see so many books like First Appearance of Frogman, this $1 to $2 book jumping up to $25, you know, because, oh my gosh, Frogman's going to be in, you know, the She-Hulk show, and then, oh, they were there for 2 seconds, comic relief, and then nobody cares about this book anymore, and the book crashes down. But we got to be careful, but I do think there is good kind of speculation value towards this character moving forward. So again, first appearance of Monica Rambeau. This book was written by Roger Stern, or by John Romita Jr. He did the pencils, and then Romita Sr. did the ink. Rest in peace to my favorite comic book artist of all time. Cover price is $1. Current average value is sitting at about $42, and a current 9.8 fair market value is sitting at about $545. Now, again, I mean, you could go through the comic boom or the COVID boom, whatever you want to call it, and look at how the market's been a bit struggling currently, and, you know, this book is still, you know, holding up value, and I think that shows something for sure. Can't wait for that movie, though. All right, next up, book number 4 on the list, we got Marvel graphic novel number 4. This is the first appearance of the New Mutants. I think the New Mutants are an awesome X team, and I think they have a lot of great storylines. And to be quite honest, that New Mutants movie, for like one of the last Fox movies, it wasn't horrible. I thought they did a decent job kind of making it like a horror flick. I mean, I said decent, guys. Don't twist my words. All right, writer, Chris Claremont, of course. Artist, Bob McLeod. Cover price, $4.99 for this graphic novel. Current average value sitting at about $61, with the current 9.8 sitting at $656. This is a solidified key, folks. And, you know, I know the New Mutant team is not the X-Men, but can we possibly talk blue chip key here of the future? Let me hear your thoughts. I'm just asking the question. I'm not stating, I'm asking the question. Want to hear your thoughts below. Book 3 on the list. We got from Eclipse Comics, Destroyer Duck #1, the first appearance of Gru. This is another book that has just been gaining ground, and I think, again, decent long-term value here. Writer Steve Gerber, with artist none other than Jack Kirby. And of course, Jack Kirby doing what he does, that's going to keep the value of this book up, in my humble opinion. Cover price of 60 cents. Current average value sitting at $36, with a nice 9.8 for a market value of $348. Before I go into the top 2 books on the list, I do want to remind everyone, guys, I'm using 9.8 fair market values just basically as an indicator of what the books are doing. Now, we know that there's a 9.8 market out there, but for those that know me, you guys know I do believe that the 9.8 is overrated. I have never purchased a 9.8 book. I don't ever see myself purchasing a 9.8 book in my lifetime. I don't. I do believe that a 9.8 on any given day, if you send it back in to any grading company, it can come back a 9.6. I do believe that a 9.6, as long as it doesn't have any color breaking defects, can be sent back into get graded and then come back a 9.8 any given day. But that's a whole other video. But I just want to state that too, again, if you guys are watching this video and looking for these books to purchase for yourselves or for your collections or to invest in, just take heed with the 9.8s. That's where I stand. That's my personal opinion. I'm not keeping these values up here for you guys to go out and buy 9.8 books. Complete transparency. All right, book number 2 on the list. man, if you guys are probably thinking, man, if this is number 2 for the year 1982, which again, the greatest year ever. Amazing movies came out that year too. E.T. and I believe did Raiders of the Lost Ark come out in 82? Remind me, guys. Comments below. Wolverine #1, Volume 1, first solo series. Also with the first cameo appearance of Yukio. Of course, written by Chris Claremont and classic cover by Frank Miller. You also had Joseph Robinstein working on the art. We got a cover price of 60 cents. Current average value $88 with the current 9.8 fair market value of $695. Now, this book boomed during the COVID boom, and it's dropped a little bit. I think this book in a 9.8 was getting up close to that $1,000 mark for a couple of high outliers. I think the average was more around 880 there at its peak. So it's dropped off a little bit, but it's still really solid. I mean, I think 9.6 are still averaging around $300 fair market value, which I think prior to COVID, the 9.6 were about half that. I think they were roughly just over maybe $140, $150, if I remember off the top of my head. So this book is doing solid things. We know Wolverine, one of the most iconic characters of, I mean, you could say of all time. Obviously probably the most iconic character coming out of the Bronze Age. And, you know, we got Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine next year in Deadpool 3. Wolverine is here to stay. Long-term investment. Any Wolverine keys, I think, are going to continue to be solid. All right, folks, what is the greatest comic book released in the year 1982? Drum roll. None other than G.I. Joe #1. This is the first comic appearance of the G.I. Joe squad. You got the first appearance of Snake Eyes, first appearance of Hawk, Scarlet, Cobra Commander, and the Baroness. Writer Larry Hama with artist Bob McLeod and Herb Trimpe. Guys, correct me if I'm saying his name wrong. Cover price of $1.50. Remember, this was a thicker book. Current average value sitting at about $115. So I would hope to get maybe around a fine plus copy around that 115, maybe, as a raw average, with a current 9.8 fair market value sitting at about $900. Let me tell you all something. During the COVID boom, okay, this book has, or excuse me, not during the COVID boom, but during the struggling economy of the last year after the COVID boom, this book has increased in value. It's recession proof. No, but again, it just goes to show, like, the 80s era of iconic cartoons like this. G.I. Joe is an amazing, amazing property. And there's some of you out there that might be knowing there's some things going on possibly with some live action. Again, I would have put too much weight on that as being anything speculative to drive the value of this book. I mean, it probably is short term, but again, I stay weary of short term FOMO purchasing. This book, classic book, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you want to pose the question, future blue chip key. I absolutely believe so. I mean, I might even call this a blue chip key right now. But definitely 5 to 10 years from now, this is going to be a key book, in my humble opinion, that's going to keep increasing in value, and it's going to hold a value that we can look at and say blue chip all the way. G.I. Joe, #1 book released in 1982, guys. So there they are, folks. 10 books from 1982. Let me know what you all thought of the list in the comments below. Let me know if there is any book released in 1982 that you guys thought could have or should have been on this list as well. And guys, I'm not going to leave yet. I do need to give a shout out to my Patreon members. Thank you, guys. The few of you for sticking with me through my trials and tribulations over the last, 7 months or so. I really appreciate all your guys' support. Sarah, Paul, Matt, Randall, Tex, Justin, Jordan, Tony, Larry, Pedro, Peter, Sagi, and Dan. You guys are basically the close knit family. You guys are my team, and I really, really do appreciate you guys so much. And again, I do want to recognize all of my channel members for supporting. And anybody that wants to become a channel member, it's only $1.99 a month. It just keeps helping me do what I do here on the channel. I do give random giveaway prizes for my members here and there as well. Sometimes I'll do early access release videos and post collecting tips once in a while, specifically for my channel members as well. So thank you to all of my channel members. But folks, again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button, share the video, anything to help the channel. I appreciate all your guys' support. And of course, if you aren't subscribed, please do so. Thank you so much for watching. Be well, and until next time.